Hey there, Descendants, my fellow Americans and people in other countries around the world. How are we all doing today? Today, we're going to be simply just talking about Void Vessel 2.0 or a medium-sized, I forget what it's called, exploration sector, I think it was. Yesterday I made a video that was just kind of directed um, at the people who are just whining about the game, right? And in that video, I had also said, that it wasn't directed towards anyone who had valid criticisms about the new Void Vessel. So the reason why I approached that video with the attitude that I did, it was not because I think that the new Void Vessel should be absolved of criticism. I thought I had said that in the video, but maybe it wasn't all that clear. So I'm making this video, to just sort of clarify for the community and stuff like that. Those with valid complaints about the new Blade Vessel, I'm not against that at all. I'm not against you guys at all. I'm simply against the people where nothing they do in this game is ever good enough for them. That's the crowd that I'm against, right? I'm not against the crowd who has valid constructive criticism and stuff like that. People say that what is it? They say the grind can be too samey for the new Void Vessel, and that's something I can agree with. I don't necessarily feel that way, but I can agree with it, and I can see why you would feel that way for sure. But the reason for this is because Nexon and Magnum have been going through some serious downsizing, unfortunately, especially since the player base drop off after the Inez nerf. It sucks, but uh, what can you do? There's really There's not a whole lot we can do about that. Oh, I could use this for S or Eugen. Nice. Didn't know they had these. That's pretty good. Um, so these are going to be kind of my thoughts on Void Vessel though. So me personally, I don't mind Void Vessel. Um, the new Void Vessel, I like it. My favorite part about it is probably honestly getting the resource boxes for the catalyst because I'm still in dire need of those. Um, and to kind of echo what a lot of the community is saying about it, those with the valid complaints and criticisms, not the ones who are just shit spraying everywhere. Which, again, the video yesterday was not directed towards the people who have valid criticisms about the game at all. But for me, I mean, I guess if I did sit, like, I don't really want to sit there for hours on end and play that Void Vessel. Like I'm sure in yesterday's stream, I don't even think I was able to play it for like 45 minutes straight consecutively. And that's because like I'm taking it in small doses, you know what I mean? And then another criticism that people have is it takes up way too much time, which that's something I could probably definitely agree with. Like they are just swords after all. I mean, because I got Ultimate Ajax in what, 2 hours? And that's an entire character, right? Like that's and then for two swords I've spent I don't know how many hours now. Um but here's the thing too, right? Is it's like um that's again this is just a direct result of downsizing, and then the higher ups at Nexon telling Magnum Studio, hey, stretch this out. You know what I mean? Because we don't have the money to produce more content at the moment, so we got to make this last, and we got to kind of profit as much as we can off of this. Because like I don't know if I mean I'm sure at least some of the player base knows this, but a lot of you probably don't know this. Um, Whenever they put out new updates, that costs money for them to do that. It costs money for them to develop the new assets, the new updates, and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Like you compare the new Void Vessel to the old one, and it's a night and day difference. And you can like for me personally, the lack of employees is tangible. Like when I compare them front and back. My friend, I forget which friend of mine it was, but my friend pointed it out. The new Void Vessel has so much of a lack of creativity compared to the old one, and that's just because they don't have enough employees to have artistic expression as much as they once had. They had to go through some downsizing because of the player base falling off. I'm talking in specifics to this game. Nexon's still a pretty sizable company. They're not the largest out there by any means, but they're pretty sizable. So I'm not going to try to make excuses for Nexon by any means. I'm just trying to explain what's going on a little bit behind the scenes. That's all I'm trying to do. You know, I'm not trying to sit here and kiss their ass. I'm not sitting here and trying to say that you have to like it. You know, I'm just trying to bring you a little bit of understanding as to why that might be the case. Because here's the thing too, right? Like, another I don't know if I already mentioned this, but another valid complaint that people have is that the grind just takes way too long for the swords. I think I did address this. I guess I'm here to also provide maybe a little bit of advice to the community. Um, what about bite-sized doses of the new Void Vessel? You know, grinding for the swords and stuff like that. Instead of just sitting there and because like, I mean, I know that doesn't necessarily fix the fact that it's too lengthy and that it feels like you're just taking forever for something that's not necessarily worth it. In your opinion, but like it's something. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I'm just trying to help you guys out here. Um, that's my main goal as a content creator. It's not really to sit here and poke holes and you know call names and stuff like that. That's only really when the whiny crowd really gets to me, and I'm just like, well, got to make a video about it. You know, it's mainly for the views at that point. But this is more so for the player base, and this is more so for like the health of the game and for Nexon for sure. Look, I guess I'll just summarize it. Is the sword grind too tedious? Probably, you know. But here's the thing about the swords, right? They were never necessarily supposed to be meta defining or game breaking. You know what I mean? Like it was just supposed to be a fun option for us melee players who wanted or who appreciate melee in video games. You know, that's really all it was. Maybe they were a bit underpowered. I don't necessarily know. I can't speak to that. But in my experience with the swords, I'm satisfied with the shadow. As of right now, I haven't tested it in all facets of content just yet. But I'm okay with it. I haven't really tested the Deus Ex yet. The Deus Ex Manus, as I like to say. I know it's probably not pronounced that way, but I like to say it that way. Um, I don't know. It probably is too long of a grind for the swords that we got. You know, objectively speaking, I can see where people are coming from. You know what I'm saying? Again, like the video I made yesterday was not directed towards the people who had valid, excuse me, complaints and criticisms about the game. It was directed towards the people because I just made a post about appreciating Albion, and then all these people were like, "Oh my god, but the sword grind, blah 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 blah." That's the people that was directed towards. Genuinely, full transparency. That's the people that video was directed towards. um, you know, and I can see that the grind isn't a one size fits all scenario by any means. I'm okay with it. I don't love it. I wish it was kind of more like Sigma Sector, if anything. But again, we have downsizing that we have to consider here, right? We have, limited resources that are being have at their disposal right now. Oh God, I sound really phlegmy. I'm so sorry, guys. I don't know, man. I feel like, next year if they can get, I mean, I've heard that they do decent in sales, but like, it's clear that they don't when the content like this is the way that it is when you compare it directly to the original Void Vessel and Sigma Sector, right? You compare it directly to those two things. I don't think their sales are as good as they let on, honestly. I don't know. That's just me. Um, anyway, I think that's about it for this video. Um, there is definitely some valid criticisms and complaints out there. That was mainly the point of this video, is to try to have a kind of a dialogue with you guys and maybe make a little bit of suggestions to you personally. Like maybe just take it, grind it a little bit less. I don't know if you guys already finished the grind, but if you haven't, grind it a little bit less. Don't tire yourself out on it. You don't ever want to do that with this game, dude. Like, if you're playing it and you're just like grudgingly just going to the next one and the next one and that, because I've done that, bro. Believe me, I've been there. Like with Axiom Planes, I actually a couple days ago I was doing that with the new Void Vessel. I was just so fucking tilted by it, by the the RNG fucking me, and not necessarily in the boxes, but with the boss. I was just going down over and over again. I was just so fucking irritated. Anyway, sorry for the rambling. If you made it all the way to the end, please drop a comment down below. Um, if you agree, let me know. If you disagree, let me know. We can talk about it in the comments. Please just be respectful. Um, I guess this is sort of an apology for yesterday's video, but not necessarily. It's more so just saying, hey, this wasn't necessarily directed towards you guys, right? Alrighty. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.